People always say that the West Coast is gray and dreary during the winter months, but I have access to places like this, and this, and this. These places are where I tough out the winter months on the island and capitalize on the torrential downpours that creates the beautiful greenery that surrounds us throughout the year. These rainfalls that accumulate up on high need to make their way back down to the ocean from the misty mountains overlooking the Salish Sea. This creates endless waterfalls all over Vancouver Island. When you're driving and you see a bridge, pull over, hike up the creek down below. I can pretty much guarantee you will find a spectacular waterfall. But why hike up to one waterfall when you can see 2, 3, 5, or even 10 or more? Honestly, I've lost count of the waterfalls that exist in this little known place. Here, multiple waterfalls cascade down to spectacular sapphire pools. This is the beauty of living in a rainforest in the Pacific Northwest. These breathtaking sights are commonplace, and so few people are aware they even exist. After an adventure in this area, you'll feel like a different person, and you'll find yourself returning over and over again. Welcome to Nile Creek. Found roughly 15 minutes outside of Qualicum Beach, you'll be driving north along the Inland Island Highway. Drive past the Horn Lake Cave turnoff. And by the way, if you want to see what it's like to climb a waterfall in a cave, definitely check out this video right up here. Anyhow, continue past the Horn Lake turnoff and go about another 5 minutes until you cross a massive bridge with the Nile Creek sign on it. Park on the north side of the bridge as we want to stay on this side of the river. This is the easiest way to access the trailhead. Now, before you get on the trail, I would highly recommend you bring a few things along with you. Waterproof boots, definitely wear those, and waterproof pants, depending on the time of year. A good camera. I would also recommend that you bring some snacks and water. Now, the hike up here is only about 30 minutes long, about 2 kilometers to start getting to the waterfalls, but you're probably going to spend a few hours up here. It's just so amazing to explore. As you begin down into the valley, there will be trails that lead you along the hillside, away from the creek. These have been built so that hikers can't destroy the embankments along the riverside, which are environmentally sensitive. I recommend walking along these upper trails, and you'll get to see many old-growth trees and beautiful moss-covered glades that are truly something to behold. If we're going to explore nature, we should try to limit the amount of destruction that we're going to cause. As you walk along the pathways, you'll notice that everything around you is vibrant green due to the humidity in the valley. Now, due to this humidity and lack of sunlight, you'll find this some stunning example of fungus growing on the trees. You can spend hours looking at different types of growth that consume the decaying trees over the decades. Shelf fungus is one of the most common and easily identifiable from the earthy tones and protruding from the tree trunks, well, pretty much everywhere. As you continue along the trail, you'll start to understand why I encouraged you to wear waterproof boots. Much of the trail becomes very muddy due to all the water that seeps out of the hillside down to the creek below. Now, because of this, large logs are placed in the mud to allow secure footing for you to traverse these treacherous areas. Be careful, as much of this mud is very deep and one false step can cause issues as, well, the only way to explain it, this dark earth acts like glue. And your foot may give up your boot before the mud will. Other areas take advantage of these fallen trees to help pass over large areas of the mossy forest floors. Luckily, somebody installed some guidelines to help you balance along these natural bridges. But beware, when the wood does get wet from the rain, the grip on your boots will be severely diminished. After about 15 minutes, you'll make your way to the creek side. The crystal clear waters are so refreshing to walk along. Eventually you'll come to the very first set of small waterfalls that descend into a pool from a few different directions. This is but a small taste of what's to come just around the next bend, because as you start to climb around these little waterfalls, you'll find a large pool that is dammed up by a massive log jam that's been growing every year that I've been coming to this place. This is a great area to swim in spring and summer. But there are multiple other pools to cool off as well as you continue to climb. Further up from this pool, you'll start to see the endless combinations of waterfalls that cascade into one another. Each of these falls are unique and a photographer's dream if you are so inclined, as I like to be. Be careful. As you make your way across these mossy rocks, they are very slippery from all the mist that comes off the waterfalls. Sooner or later, you'll start to climb a steep hill that overlooks multiple pools and waterfalls below. Mind your footsteps. As you make your way along this abrupt incline, the waterfalls continue to grow higher and higher. And just when you think you've reached the top, the trail continues to be more picturesque. Typically, I stop where an old bridge once existed and allowed vehicles to cross over the creek long ago. This is where you'll typically see off-roaders traversing the river, which can be seriously dangerous if you're not careful. Now, keep in mind, this area is restricted from using motorized vehicles, and you can be fined for going around the many barricades placed here by the regional districts and Mosaic Land Management. I personally have mistakenly wandered into one of these areas to find a cave and received a warning for unknowingly driving around one of these gates. Remember, this is just one little creek on Vancouver Island. There are so many of these spots that nobody knows about. And once you live here and get your bearings, on Vancouver Island, you'll find yourself just picking a place on the map and spending an afternoon hiking around the area. You may find a place that people haven't been for thousands of years. My young son has already developed an adventurous spirit and wants to chase waterfalls with his old man every chance he gets. Keep in mind, Nile Creek is not a child-friendly hike, at least during the winter months when the rivers swell and can get quite dangerous. But there are many other options to bond with your loved ones out in the forest come rain or shine. With that in mind, I hope you get to live the island life soon. And if you want to learn more about doing so, I would definitely check out this video right here, or this video right here.